Hey everybody, it's the American Abroad. I'm joining you today from my secret location in Germany. These are Giori Test notes. They're a very rare type of note that was authorized by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and these were printed on certain types of presses in the Washington, D.C. area. And there's two different types. There's one with Lincoln, Washington, and Grant, and then there's this type with Lincoln, Jefferson, and Grant from the $5, $2, and $50 bill, the older style portraits. The 2 is still obviously in existence. And the ones with Jefferson, like I said, are even more rare, and the ones with serial numbers are the rarest. I picked up 2 of these. One has damage. There's a fold here on one. The other one is in, I would say, probably 6 MS, or probably 65, 64, 66. And this one's probably worth at least $500 to $1,000. And I picked both of these up for about $100. Together. I just want to read you what it says online. In 2012, Smitty's Coin and Currency in Canandaigua, New York, announced the verification of a newly discovered hoard of Giori Test notes that were printed on a press designed and built in Geneva in the 1970s. I don't know if that's Geneva, New York or Geneva, Switzerland. I believe it's Geneva, New York. PCGS Currency, the most respected company in currency grading and authenticating, recently released some of the notes back to Smitty's. Being called the Edgar L. Pigman Hoard, these notes are recognized to have significant local and national historical value. Until recently, these test notes were almost forgotten, with only the nephew of the late design engineer Edgar L. Pigman being aware of their existence. The American Banknote Company, a subcontractor for the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing, contracted Edgar, an engineer for the American Can Company's Geneva location, to design the press. These Geneva-made machines were shipped to Washington, D.C., and using nonsense plates from the Bureau of Engraving and Printing were used to print the notes in sheets of 32. These plates have about 30 to 34 different vintages from a variety of notes. Most recognized are Washington $1, Lincoln $5, and Grant $50 bills. Like I just said, the Jefferson ones are more rare. These notes were not legal to possess since they somewhat resembled real currency, even though there were no denominations ever printed. Only with a change in the Bureau of Engraving printing policy are these rare notes now legal to be bought and sold. The history of the PCGS Certified Pigman Hoard Giori Test Note. To understand the significance of the Giori Test Notes requires little history of United States currency. At the conclusion of World War II, Giottiero Giori created what was eventually known as the Giori Press. This groundbreaking method allowed 2-color and even 3-color engraving from a single plate in one pass. Using precisely cut special rubber inking rollers, this allowed the application of each ink selectively to parts of the same plate. Adding to the new faster drying ink and other technologies, a new press was to be commissioned by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, many times faster than anything before it. In a strange and still not completely understood decision, American Banknote Company, ABN, chose American Can as a subcontractor to actually create the new printing machines. Founded in 1901, the American Can Company was mostly known for the making of tin cans and their labels. They had manufacturing facilities nationwide, but chose the Geneva, New York, I guess it's not Switzerland, plant as the site for building the press. Edgar L. Pigman, 1932 to 2008, from Phelps, New York, was selected as the American Can engineer to work on the project. Mr. Pigman designed the presses and tested them using the Giori process. So it's a foreign process, but made in Geneva, New York. These plates display approximately 32 different vignettes, including portraits of Presidents Washington, Lincoln, and Grant that are identical to those on the $1, $5, and $50 Federal Reserve notes that were then current in circulation. While the presses worked fine in Geneva making these test notes and were delivered to DC, they were never used for making any currency that went into circulation. There's no proof the presses were ever used once they made it to Washington, D.C. Many stories have circulated about the entire situation, and all are not completely understood or officially confirmed. It does not seem coincidental that this large waste of taxpayer dollars was soon followed by the director of the BEP resigning, and a well-documented lawsuit to follow against him. Pigman's nephew talked about his uncle being unhappy about the entire situation, even though he had long since moved on to other projects. The test notes sat in his closet undisturbed for 30 plus years. Originally they were considered by the BEP as illegal for collectors' own to own since they somewhat resembled authentic circulating currency, but the restriction on private ownership has since been lifted. The test notes in this portfolio are one of the largest groups to ever become available to the collection community. If you'd like to see them, please call this number, blah, 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 blah. And that's from coinbooks.org. That's where I took that information from. Like I said, these notes are super, super duper rare. Just heard a car hit its brakes. Hopefully there was no one that was ran over. Yeah, in this condition, I've seen, I guess you could say MS65, I think they're called MS when you're grading them from PCGS. 65, 66 notes go for 1,000 online with multiple people interested in watching the selling of these on eBay. I've seen them on eBay before. In this condition with a big wrinkle, it's hard to see down here across there. It's probably worth maybe 50, 100 bucks max. But this one here is a gem uncirculated with serial numbers. On the back you can see they were, I guess you could say, inverted. And you can see that they were testing like all these different style, like as inks, and there's different color ones. There's gray ones, there's brown ones, there's green ones. This one is kind of like a dark blackish gray. But yeah, if you see any of these ever out there with Jefferson and serial numbers on them, they are highly collectible. Please pick them up if you want to earn a little bit extra money. So just want to share you guys a unique part of my collection that I'm really proud about, and I will keep my eyes open out there for new and interesting notes to share with you guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're having a good day. Bye-bye.